right, so let's look at actually drawing some maps. Now, this would be very difficult to do if we looked at millions of people like in the state of Oregon. That would be tough for us to draw. People who do that in the legislature use computers and whatnot. But we can achieve this in a fictional way with just a smaller state. So I've got a state here, a fictional state that I've drawn out with voters represented by X's and O's. X if they belong to a fictional party X, and O if they belong to a fictional party O. Now, if you count up how many X's and O's there are in this picture, there are 35 total voters in the state. And I've organized them into 7 districts. And if you look at those districts, one of the rules for districts is you have to have the same number of voters in each. So if you count up the voters in every single district, I do have 5 voters in each district. So District 1 has 3 X's and 2 O's, so that's 5 voters in that district. District 2 has 5 voters, in this case, all O voters. And as you look around, you have 5 voters in every district. That's an important thing for any map that you draw. All right, so let's take a look at how this has been organized and who wins in the way this district map is organized. I'm going to start with District 1. District 1 had 3 X voters and 2 O voters, so the winner of the election in District O would be Party X. Sorry, District 1 would be Party X. Now, District 2 has no X voters and 5 O voters, so that would be District O. I'll put a slash through 0 to emphasize that it's not O, it's 0. And then District 3 has 4 X voters and 1 O voter, so that would go to Party X. District 4 has 4 O voters and 1 X voter, so that would go to Party O, that district. District 5 has 4 X voters and 1 O voter, so that would go to District X. District 6 is in the top. It has 3 O voters and 2 X voters, so that would go to Party O. And then finally, District 7 has 4 X voters and 1 O voter, so that would go to Party X. So a good way to make sure we have got everybody and I didn't make any mistakes calculating is let's total these votes. We should have 35 altogether. When I add up the X votes, I should get 18. 3 plus 4 plus 1 plus 4 plus 2 plus 4 is 18. And then O votes, 2 plus 5 plus 1 plus 4 plus 1 plus 3 plus 1. That totals up to 17. So 18 and 17 is 35. So I got all the votes. Notice there was one more X vote, there was O vote, but pretty much it's pretty balanced between these two parties. It's a pretty balanced state. 50-50, as close as we could get. Since there's an odd number of voters, we can't get exactly 50-50, but it's pretty close. In terms of the wins, that's also pretty close to 50-50. The X party gets 4 seats, and the O party gets 3. So once again, that's pretty close to, pretty close to having an even split. So I would say, just looking at the numbers here, it's pretty evenly split between the two parties, both in terms of votes and in terms of who's winning the seats. So I wouldn't expect to find much gerrymandering in this map. All right, so let's take that state and let's redraw maps by gerrymandering. And we're going to start with Party X. So a little reminder, there are 35 people altogether in this map, in this state, and there are 5 voters per district. And if you're going to win a district that has 5 voters in it, you need at least 3 votes. So half of 5 is 2.5. You need more than half. So to win, you need 3 or more votes. At minimum, you need 3. So for Party X to win the most they could, we need to think about how many votes Party X had. So on the last slide, we saw that Party X had 18 votes. And if we were to take that and think about how many wins I could achieve with 18 votes, if I need 3 votes for a win at minimum, then 18 divided by 3 would be 6 wins possible. So that means that Party X could possibly get 6 seats. or 6 districts. They could win 6 districts. And if Party X wins 6 districts, then Party O would have only one seat left to get, one district seat, because there were only 7 to begin with. We had 35 voters and 5 districts per 5 voters per district, so that's 7 seats altogether. All right, so now we're actually going to do the drawing. We haven't done this part yet. So when we draw lines, we want to make sure that the district lines that we make contain the same number of people. So we need to make sure we have 5 voters in every region that we draw. The regions have to be contiguous, I mean connected. And the hint for drawing these is I always recommend packing the opponent's seats first. So Party X was doing this, so they're going to pack Party O's votes into one seat if they can. So pack one district or one region with O votes. And that's going to be helpful because that's going to weaken them or crack them everywhere else. So it weakens O in other spots or in other places. So we call that packing and cracking. So I see a lot of O votes in the center. So I'm going to grab some O votes out of the center and just make them into a district. So I'm going to say that district is District O. I'm going to highlight it in green just to emphasize that's one district that's going to Party O. So that's my first district packed with Party O's. Now what I want to do for the rest of drawing the districts is I really want to make sure that they all go to the X party, and that means I need to weaken O. So to weaken O, I want them to just have just under the votes it takes to win. So if it takes 3 votes to win, it takes 2 votes or less to lose. So I want to basically create lines where I have 2 O's and no more in each one. So I'm going to just start with a line up the center here, and I'm going to move to the right, and I'm going to include 2 O votes as I go across. So I'm going to include 2 O votes, and I see 2 O votes there, and I would need to then have 5, so that means I have to continue from this X and these 2 O's, I need 2 more X's, and that would make that district go to Party X. So I have 2 O's and 3 X's, which means that is won by Party X. Now I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to just keep moving around and go down. Remember, 2 O's to 3 X's. So 2 O's, and I'm going to grab 3 X's there. So that would be another region or district to the X party. And then I've got 2 O's down below with I need 3 X's. So this is another, that would be another good one to grab. I need 2 O's and 3 X's. So I don't want to make, I want to carefully avoid having a third O voter in this next region. So I'm going to cut off those 3 and separate them. So I have 2 O's and 3 X's. So that's also an X party. And then I'm going to continue up here, and I want 5, but make sure you only get 2 O votes and then 3 X's. And then luckily, my last district that kind of automatically happens has 2 O's and 3 X's. Now, every once in a while, you get to that last district and it won't be right. You'll have O winning, or you won't have you won't have the right number of 5 votes. That means you've made a mistake somewhere. And one of the best things I can suggest is if you're doing this on paper, use a pencil and have an eraser handy, because the first couple of times you do this, you're going to have to erase and start over. But as you play around, it's a little bit of a puzzle game, you might say. If you like puzzles, you'll enjoy this. But you basically need to just go back and start from a different position, and remember, weaken those O votes to make X so that X wins. So in this case, it did work. I'm just going to very quickly highlight and double check. I have one in the upper right. I have a district that wins with 3 X's and 2 O's, and then continuing clockwise, I have another district that wins with 3 X's and 3 O's, and then at the bottom, 3 X's and 2 O's, another one at the bottom, 3 X's and 2 O's. On the left, on the bottom, I have 3 X's and 2 O's, and then on the top, on the left, I have 3 X's and 2 O's. So that means I have 6 seats winning for Party X and 1 seat winning from Party O. And that makes 7 seats altogether. All right, let's look at Party X now. Say Party X is in charge of drawing district maps. A little reminder, there are 5 voters per district. That means it takes 3 votes to win. 3 votes, or you could have more, 3 plus votes to win. So remember, Party O had 17 votes to work with, 17 O votes. Okay, so if I wanted to take 17 O votes and I divide by what it takes to win, which is 3, that's at a minimum, 17 divided by 3 would be 5.6. 6, etc. Now remember, this is giving us a maximum, so at most the O party could get 5 seats. So 5 seats to the O party. The X party could get 6 because they had a few more votes, but the O party, based on the numbers, can only get at most 5. That means what's left for the X party in this situation where party O is drawing the maps would be the party X. If O gets 5 seats, party X could get 2 seats because there's only a total of 7 seats altogether. So it's good to have the numbers before we draw the picture. To draw district lines to achieve these numbers, we want to make sure that all districts contain 5 votes, same number in each district, and we have to make sure the district is connected. And we're going to pack and crack. We're going to pack the opponents. So we're going to pack 2 districts with X votes. So I see a lot of X votes around the outside edges. In fact, on the right here, I see 5 X votes right there. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight those 5 votes that are on the right side as a single district. And because they're all X votes, that is won by the X party. So there's one party, one district for the X party. And then I see a bunch here in the lower left corner, and I'm going to group 5 X votes together there to pack a second district. So here's a second district that goes to party X. Now I'm going to go ahead and work on the seats that the party O is going to win. And I'm going to start by making sure I only put in at most 2 X votes into anything. So I see 2 X votes in the bottom here. I'm just going to grab those with 3 O votes, and that would create my first O district. So this district will be won by party O. Now I'm going to go up and try that again. So I want to grab 2 X votes, but no more than 2. So I can see 4 kind of in the upper left corner. I'm going to split those up so 2 of them go down with 3 X votes. So that becomes 2 X votes with 3 O votes, I should say. So that becomes a party, a district that's won by the O party. And then the 2 other X votes I'm going to grab with 3 O votes. So you can kind of do that in multiple ways. I'm just choosing to do it that way. So I now have 2 more districts that go to party O. And I kind of saw that there were 4 X's in the upper left, and I wanted to split those into 2 and 2. So I created the district lines so I could achieve that. Now, I have 10 voters left. Remember, it's got to go 5 and 5, so I'm going to draw a line to separate them so I have 5 votes in each. And luckily, that works out pretty well because I have 2 X's in the upper area with 3 O's and then a whole bunch of O's in this middle region. And so both of these regions that I've created now are go to party O. So now if you count them up, I have 5 voters in each district. So that's an important thing, same number of people in each district. And I have 5 seats going to party O, and I have 2 seats going to party X. So you can see, same people, same organization in this state. I have the same distribution of X's and Y's, but 3 different ways of organizing the districts and these voters so that I get different results in the election.